to the other carries that Yoshi had highlighted. I think something we're going to see a lot of. This character is at a very powerful impact in the way teams are playing the game. As our teams get started here, we see Nazu with that green that I pointed out earlier. Looks like they are heading to the top path, implementing a 2-1-2 strategy for our Yerman team on the right, while PogChamp is going with the more typical 1-1-3 composition.
Yeah, it looks like Yerman is trying to just stress that top path a little bit with those two characters. But the player advantage in the bottom is working its way into action here as PogChamp was able to get a little bit of an advantage in that bottom path.
Yeah, it's important to remember that Pokemon Unite is definitely a team game. And what this means is while Yerman's has chosen to give up some of the pressure that they would normally have in that bottom path by being 2-3, they're using that disadvantage there to push their advantage in the top path, resulting in PogChamp's Lucario and their Duraludon likely coming out behind because of it.
Sorayu able to close it out on the green, on the Skwovet right now. So that player advantage didn't quite work out for Yerman as they had their central area player roll up Erzaron. But we're back in the bottom path here as PogChamp is just working through the stuff on their side of the map, trying to get those levels up and not lose anything too early as the bees have arrived.
Yeah, and we see here, talking about where that Skwovet is going to be in terms of position. We see after it gets knocked out, it is heading directly into the central area for PogChamp, looking to perhaps pick up some knockouts. And something very interesting here from Yerman, it's not alone in that central area with Duraludon for Yerman joining them there, perhaps trying to get a knockout here on Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi in a bad way. Here's the Fridge and the Squirrel team up for this the most. We'll call that the Ice Age setup, right? The refrigerator and the Squirrel, we getting it done over there in the opposing central area. Good look by Yerman and exactly the receipts they were trying to dish out.
We see some of the power of that hyperspace hole on Hoopa there in the bottom path for Yerman. Both of their characters very low on HP, able to take that hyperspace hole back to their starting area, heal up, and then jump back right down to that bottom path to begin applying more pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. PogChamp, again, staying a little bit reserved, trying to make sure they get all their stuff. As I'm just kind of keeping an eye out on the Skwovet as it's kind of going all over the map wherever it wants here. And now Yerman rolling down to that bottom path, maybe trying to get ready and get set up a little early for that Dreadnought.
We see the payoff of what Yerman was trying to set off playing out a little bit early here with their Duraludon being level 7 a bit before Yoshi here as they get some knockouts in the top path, again pushing this 2-3 advantage against the more powerful characters in the PogChamp team.
I mean, central path, Yoshi getting KO'd again, and that's exactly what Yerman wants to do. Keep them off their levels, keep them behind, and that's the way they're going to leverage an advantage here as PogChamp is all over the bottom Bs. No worries there because I still think this is working to Yerman's favor based on what they're trying to execute here.
Yeah, and we see Yerman utilizing that hyperspace hole, connecting those outside goalposts to bring down their Duraludon and Lucario that are over-leveled at this point. That Duraludon notably has hit the very key level 9 breakpoint, which means it has its very powerful Unite move that we see pop off here, increasing its attack and allowing them to secure a bunch of knockouts and this first Dreadnought.
Just getting some KOs and they're able to, oh wow, the Slowbro steals the Dreadnought for PogChamp. That's a great look there. And now, but doesn't matter, Yerman Burgerford was putting a pressure onto this bottom path. They're going to try and close out this goal zone despite losing the Dreadnought in a bizarre fashion. Great steal by PogChamp to kind of keep some parity going here and get some experience on their side. And Solary finally hitting level 9 and getting that Unite move for themselves as well. But the Express Lane Highway on the map has been clicked on by Yerman and they're moving to the top path.
Yeah, and we see that even with PogChamp able to sneak out that very valuable last hit on the Dreadnought, Yerman able to keep parity, even be a little bit ahead on level still, thanks to the push they had in the top path to start here.
Yeah, Nazu getting KO'd, and now the Rotom is kind of open, and PogChamp takes that one too. So now the objectives are rolling into the way of PogChamp. You love to see it. Now Yerman stuffing their goals, and that's a Unite move, and we're going to see if they can convert on that, get some KO. There's one KO. Let's see if they two. Is that a 2-shot? They're dropping 2 right now. That Duraludon, the Johnny Cash Pokemon, using that Ring of Fire, cranking up the heat, and taking the opposing team down, down, down. Jeff?
Yeah, we see that outside goal getting broken, giving PogChamps that very valuable point lead to start here. We see Yerman now sweeping down to the bottom to perhaps make a push on this bottom goal zone to not only catch back up in points, but trying to secure the positional map advantage before this very important second Dreadnought is able to spawn here in 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's going to be the ticket here, as Yerman's going to have to get down to this bottom path, and they're just circling around, maybe getting ready for that objective, as you mentioned. A little bit of action in the top goal zone as Crackies gets their points in, probably off the back of a score shield there, and now trying to work on a crab for themselves.
This upcoming fight around the second Dreadnought is going to be one of the biggest explosions in the game, as this is the key point where we see all of these Unite moves start popping off with these incredible buddy barrier shields blocking out lots of damage from the opposing team here.
Well, I saw back-to-back Duraludon Unites, and then, of course, two Hoop on Bounds are moving across the map, and they're chucking haymakers into each other. Yerman Burger Flipper's getting the worst of it, as they had 2 players down, and now Slowbro playing forward here, and they're going to go back, and they end up getting the Dreadnought themselves. PogChamp getting their 3rd objective of the game here, despite being behind on levels a little bit for most of the time. And they're pressuring this bottom goal zone here. 4 points left on it. They're going to be able to get a good overdunk if they can clear out the trash, which is the Yerman Burger Flippers. KO streak of 2 for the Duraludon Pokemon. KO streak of 3, you can't stop it. The fridge fear is real down here on AO Silent.
Yeah, we see PogChamp turning that little bit of behind early into an incredible advantage off that first Dreadnought steal. It allowed them to keep parity in terms of levels, which allowed them to then win a team fight at the first Rotom, which then set them up to push off at that second Dreadnought in the way that we just saw there. The Duraludon for PogChamp's already level 14 with still 3.5 minutes left in the game. Those last 2 levels are such an incredible stat advantage in Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, having 2 levels on their counterpart is not good news if you're Yerman Burger Flippers, and they have to get creative on how they're going to make up that gap here. We see Yerman Burger Flippers, they're kind of saying to their side of the map, don't want to overcommit and maybe feed anymore into this PogChamp squad that's getting over-leveled and very strong very quickly. And Yerman Burger Flipper is going to, oh, look at this, PogChamp moving in as a unit as they're trying to take down the road, and the Unite moves come out, and now they're putting the pressure on. Yerman Burger Flippers starting to fall like dominoes in this upper path here. Finally, the whole team has to pull up, and just the KO streaks are raining in for the Duraludon again, and they're going to hit level 15 before this Zapdos, no doubt about it, as the Rotom, it does not make it in, but who cares? KO streak of 3 for the Duraludon. Yoshi was the player to watch, and Yoshi is cashing it in all over these Yerman Burger Flippers.
Love the absolute fantastic positioning from PogChamp there. If we noted, we saw 3 of their members wait to get vision with that Rotom to see how the opposing team was positioned so they can attack in the most ideal way. We see the teams now converging on this bottom path as the 3rd Dreadnought of the game spawns, perhaps looking to push that level advantage even further for the rest of the team, because Duraludon for PogChamps does not need any more levels. They have secured that level 15, and they are as large and in charge as they can be in this match.
I mean, Nazu doing a good job leashing Soreyu around, just trying to keep them out of the mix here. However, that's not going to be long for this world, as Yerman Burger Flippers has to get on the same page here, because they're diving all over this Hoopa, and now the Duraludon has to come in for the save, and they do. Kiva ends up making it out, but that Zapdos is here.
Yeah, the Zapdos is spawned, and notably, look at the positioning on the map here. Yermans are caught outside of the Zap Pit at the start here, and PogChamp is just going in on this objective, pulling them into a team fight that they cannot win, as 3 members of Yerman go down very quickly.
Hoopa Unbound is certainly getting shackled now, because Yerman Burger Flippers is not converting on that. Now it's just up to them to finish the job. PogChamp does. They seal it up. They unlock those goal zones, and now you know what it is. It's Hundo Burger time. It's double bucket time. It's straight ducats, and PogChamp has the opportunity to just sway this lead before they can even get some points in, Jeff. Yerman Burger Flipper says, I'm done here. Wash our hands of this one. Game 1 did not go the way we wanted.
Yeah, what an absolutely dominating performance there for PogChamp, winning that end game team fight without losing a single member and putting up 500 additional points before they already had a lead here. That says 454 to 192, but in reality, if Yermans had not conceded the game when they did, PogChamp would have been well over 700 points here, making it insurmountable to catch back up. You might just be saying to yourself, you know, we played well, our start was good, we just need to not have that small thing happen again that was a little bit outside of our control.
So if you're on PogChamp here, or excuse me, if you're on your Yerman Burger Flippers, how do you identify the Slowbro early and keep them from taking you out of the fight, given the composition that Yerman Burger Flipper is bringing to Game 2?
Yeah, I think the key to securing objectives in spots like that is really that Dragon Pulse on the Duraludon here. And we see Nazu doing what I mentioned to start here, changing up their positioning, going after these buff Pokemon in the central area as opposed to going to the top path, and it steals that when they're out from under Yoshi.
That's exactly what Nazu's looking. If they can get one, great. If they can get two Pokemon from that central area, even better. And now Yerman already having a little bit stronger of a presence in this early game as we saw than in game one.
Yeah, we see that full heal there for Seryu on PogChamp, getting them out of that tight position, denying that push from the opposing Lucario that would have knocked it out, pushing it back into Yerman's Duraludon.
Something I want to note, Yerman Burger Flippers did a good job limiting Yoshi early. However, they kind of dropped the ball a little bit later on in the game as Yoshi was able to outlevel everyone on their squad. And I want to see that happen again, except this time, don't drop the ball, convert on it. Blaine getting pushed a little bit by Vieto San, and now they are forced to retreat here in the face of the bottom path, and Nazu gets their greeting off the back of a score.
Yeah, and we see this kind of trade-off here that Yerman executed in the first game also coming to fruition here again. Look at all of the characters on PogChamp's side. Their Blissey is their first level 5 dupe. Their support character is not where you want your highest level to be in a game of Pokemon Unite.
Absolutely not, and PogChamp having to force 2 players in to take care of that greeting is not good news for them either, as Kiva and Blaine are just doing well, sticking to their side of the board. We just saw the Duraludon up top of your screen there peel the corner, trying to get back into their central area to get their levels up on the wild Pokemon. And look at how far Kiva's playing up, just trying to get vision on this PogChamp team, not interested in engaging, just trying to get a little bit of an idea of where they're at. Great surf by Vieto San. I know it didn't really convert to anything, but that looked real good.
Yeah, we see Greedent doing what it does best in being squirrely around the map. One of the strengths of this character is it's so mobile, it can cross the map and be in a spot where you don't expect it to be. We didn't see Greedent play bottom path at all in that first game, and now it's here in the second game, again, forcing PogChamp to be reactive to the positioning where it takes with a huge knockout for Yerman on top, taking down that center path Duraludon.
Let's take a look at the levels, and it looks like they're all in the favor of Yerman Burger Flippers here across the board, and that's exactly where they want to be, as Nines is working on Soreyu. Soreyu getting pushed back, jumping into the Duraludon, Urzaron, and Urzaron going to try and finish off Soreyu, as now they're just tag teaming them, and 9 finally closes the door on their opposing Lucario. Great look in the top lane for Yerman Burger Flippers.
We see that Dreadnought objective counting down to a 5 count to spawn. It's so important that you be at this objective on time when there are these Duraludons in the match. They close out this objective so fast. If you're not there, you're late. And there is a steal for Greedent on the first and most important objective of the game a lot of the time.
Yep, and that means that's a fight that can be taken. Here's the KO streak at 2 for the Lucario. Duraludon gets their own, and that's 3 players down for PogChamp, as now Yerman has the advantage in the bottom path, and they're going to push as 2 more players go down for PogChamp. Yerman Burger Flippers trying to exact a little revenge for that game 1 and saying that game 1 was not indicative of what we're about. Bring it on. Nines getting their 3rd KO there.
We see that hyperspace hole from the Hoopa, bringing that Duraludon very quickly up to the top path, allowing Yerman to not only secure that Dreadnought, but also be here when it matters most, allowing to secure the second objective of the game. And they're going to take this advantage and try and push, breaking this outside goal before the Rotom can go in. And we might see a second point push here, because notably, we are at 6 minutes on the map, meaning that PogChamp does not have access to that launch pad yet.
Absolutely, and we see a couple Unite moves coming out as they're going to play some defense on that Rotom. Nines has to retreat here. Kiva putting some pressure on, bubbling out for them. Rotom's still working in, and we see just the Slowbro doing work. Finally, the Duraludon, Yoshi getting their piece of the pie here, getting a KO streak of 2 as they're moving through. Good defense from PogChamp here to recover as they were put on the back foot, but something you want to note, Nazu was all over in that central area while that team was focused on that Rotom push.
Those knockouts are huge for the PogChamp side here. It's important to note that the higher the opposing level Pokemon is that you knock out, the more experience that it provides for you. This means in that exchange where PogChamp had a couple of knockouts happen to them, the knockouts they took off of Yerman had a lot more value, meaning that the level differential is closing a small bit, even if not all the way just yet.
Well, you got to start somewhere, Jeff, if that's for certain. And that next point of inflection here in this match is going to be that Dreadnought. Look at Yerman posturing around, getting ready to set the scene here for this team fight. And Hyperspace Hole comes out by Kiva, and that's a Unite move. That's another Unite move coming out by the Duraludon. And now it's just an absolute melee down here. First player down's on Yerman Burger Flippers, but the push is on 2 players down for Yerman, 1 for PogChamp as they're working through each other. KO streak of 2 for Yoshi because they're feeling it now. KO streak of 3 for Yoshi. Keep it going, kid. The team needs you. Are they going to get a 4-pack here? No, they have to back off. They're working on Dreadnought. Oh! Squirrel takes a KO on Lucario and takes the Dreadnought here. Great work by Nazu.
Yeah, Nazu really showing there just the slipperiness of Greedent's character, able to dance in, around, and all around that objective, staying alive while the Dragon Pulse put it down to a spot, but not quite knocking it out, and allowing that Belch to knock that Dreadnought out, securing experience for Yerman in a team fight that they had otherwise lost.
Blaine, the soul of this Yerman Burger Flippers squad, was on Wigglytuff in the February finals, picking up A9. That's Ninetales here in this one, and doing great work in that bottom path, showing their flexibility across characters.
Yeah, we see Yerman again leveraging that hyperspace hole for the incredible amounts of positioning across the map that it provides, getting their entire squad from the bottom path up to the top to secure that Rotom. We see what we frequently see happen with these Rotoms in the mid game, where they are not pushing with this objective. They are simply using it as map pressure to keep members of PogChamp busy, while Yerman is able to spread out and clear all those valuable wild Pokemon off the map, gaining those ever important levels. They can be bigger at that endgame team engagement.
Something that can't be understated here, if we saw how close Nines was sticking to that PogChamp and that Rotom to help increase the vision that was providing to really get an understanding of where everyone was on the map. Oh, they're jumping all over this poor Blizzy that's stuck in the middle of nowhere. Urzaron and Kiba pushing as Cracky's going to go down here. Firm retreat by the chunky Pokemon makes it out, but a good look and well sussed out to put the pressure on by Yerman Burger Flippers. Solary and Nines going after it, and Nines get the better of that one as they're out just the same level as that central area Pokemon for PogChamp.
Yeah, incredible pop-off there for Yerman's Lucario in the top path, nearing level 14 already with 3 minutes left almost. Definitely looking to be level 15 for that end game engagement if possible, as they get the forward positioning at this third and final Dreadnought of this second game.
Yeah, Yerman with good positioning. They're already chipping into Dreadnought. They're just trying to protect it. There's 2 minutes and 30-ish seconds on the clock, which means they're going to seal this up, push their experience advantage, use those shields, and try and carry that straight into Zapdos, where Nines is already trying to get there to get some vision on the opposing squad. PogChamp susses it out, chips him out, and we've got a couple minutes till Zapdos. Couple seconds. What am I talking about, Jeff?
Big difference here between the first game and this one. Yoshi is not level 15 going into this engagement. The big thing I'm going to want to look for that we saw swing the fight in PogChamp's favor in that first game is the Slowbro for PogChamp going to be able to pick out Duraludon, or is it going to position itself more securely? And they are late to the party on Yerman's side. PogChamp is taking this objective.
They took that objective, but they're going for that back cap action. Duraludon going to try and get some points in here. Is it going to be a Duraludunking? Of course not. Duraludon goes with the granny shot, gets the Hundo Burger in, but we got the push the other way by PogChamp, since all the goal zones are unlocked, and they have tons of ALS energy to get in there here. 100, 200. Yerman better stop the flow here, because there's a lot of points and opportunity. There's another one, 534. Yerman's lost the lead here with 1:28 as the Unite moves are coming out, and they're trying to play defense, but it might be a tad bit late because all those points have already gone in. The goal zones have restored. You now have to score the hard way here, and Yerman has just a small gap to make up here.
I think the important thing to note is that Zapdos was basically uncontested from Yerman's side. They just ran across the map and went to dunk. So we might still see Unite moves out of Yerman's team, allowing them a big push at the end here. The score timer is about to tick to 1 minute, letting Yerman's know that they need to push here. And the knockout on the Greedent when you know that you need to push is not what you want to see on Yerman's side.
Yeah, that Greedent did not have full pockets, but it did have that score shield. But you saw PogChamps rain down off that springboard and be able to break that score shield up just in time to keep them from scoring. And I think that's kind of what Yerman was banking on for their score. But now PogChamp is pushing into this bottom path with that far goal zone, and they got players all over it. And they'll be able to get more points in here. They're going to get a big over dunk as the 100 goes in. 666. That is the Satan's number for Yerman Burger Flippers. You hate to see that, as that number is climbing. 802 to 581.
You perfectly executed push at the end here for PogChamp. Something that's superb that I would really like to point out from them is you'll note when they scored their 500 points post Zapdos, they explicitly left that outside bottom point up on the map, knowing that if these 500 points weren't going to be enough, that outside point provides less healing, making it easier to put more points in the future.
It seemed like this was all Yerman Burger Flippers all the time, and it just got eked out by their strategy of giving up Zapdos, Jeff. They're probably going to have to go back to the drawing board and review that one. Look at those score totals on the side of PogChamps.
Yeah, I think if you're on Yerman's side of the match there, you really have to wonder, was our call in the end game there correct?